Hello, YouTube. This is Old School from WhatTheBuc.net coming to you live from Valrico, Florida. We're going to give a little bit of a Bucs update. I want to apologize that if I haven't been out here regularly enough, I haven't been able to post things. I had a little bit of a computer problem, as I mentioned on a previous post. But hopefully we'll get things squared away, and I'll be able to get back onto a regular posting schedule here at YouTube. I appreciate those folks who've come over from YouTube to go to our show, which we're doing roughly once a week here in the off-season. We'll be back to twice a week during the regular season with What the Buc. With regards to the Buccaneers news, there's a couple of big high points that have been going on here in the offseason. Obviously, the draft was a big deal. We did a quick draft recap. On paper, the draft looks really solid. Obviously, the team has a lot of holes to fill, and when you're trying to fill a lot of holes, you're going to use draft picks to do it. Free agency is not going to be the real strong suit there. We did go out and get a receiver and a safety in free agency, get some guys to come in and fill some gaps, and hopefully upgrade some positions where we've had some serious issues at both the wide receiver slot as well as the safety position, where Savvy Piscatelli is going to be looking over his shoulder because, word out of camp is that he's going to be fighting for playing time this year, though they like to run a three-safety rotation in the Bucs defense. Now, when we're talking about the draft picks, OTAs are wrapping up this week. There's been a lot of noise down here with the draft picks that we did have in. McCoy has looked very good. Every time he's gotten on the field, he's drawn praise from the veterans, praise from the coaches. He did get a little dinged up today at OTAs, a hip injury. Looks like it's very minor. Report out of Coach Morris is that it's minor, and report out of Pewter Report as well is that it's a minor injury. Also getting dinged up today was Aurelius Ben, wide receiving new addition for the Buccaneers, who's been having a hell of a camp. Looks like he was at a lower leg issue, ankle or something like that, but it's probably just turned. Coach Morris was quoted as saying he saw both of them in the cafeteria afterwards, and everything seemed fine to him. So these things are going to happen in OTAs. The Bucs have taken a little bit of a different directions with OTAs. Jeff Fain came out and said that he liked it. A lot of teams have been scaling back the amount of time that players are on the field. The Bucs have scaled up the amount of time that the players are on the field, and Jeff Fain's comments, which I actually agree with entirely, were that when you have a young team like this, they need those reps, they need those snaps. You got Freeman coming into his second year, his first full-time year as a starter. He needs to get that opportunity to get out there with Mike Williams and Ben and whoever else we're going to have. We know Sammy Strouder's going to be on there. Maurice Stovall is linked to contract as well. I think a lot of people believe Clayton will be here because of the contract that he's got. I'm hoping that the Bucs are able to stop throwing good money after bad and cut ties with Mike Clayton. But regardless, the quarterback's going to need the time. Coach Olson's implementing a new offense, which apparently is going to look very much like Gruden's offense before he left, with certain twists and tweaks to it. We've yet to see what that actually looks like. Coach Olson had to take over for Jeff Jagodzinski last year. I was a pretty vocal detractor of Coach Olson's. I don't like his play calling, or I didn't like his play calling then. I didn't like his play calling in St. Louis. I'm hoping that when he gets a chance to run the show here, he'll be able to do something with it, and I'm going to hold out hope until I see otherwise. So. But OTAs do give us our first chance. As fans, we don't get to see it, but as press, we get some reports out of there, and we can draw some conclusions. Fortunately, we get a chance to talk to some of the players. The other guy that's turning a lot of heads at the OTAs is Mike Williams out of Syracuse, who did sign a 4-year contract. He's said and done everything properly since he got here. I know this was a big question mark because of character issues in college. But he has been turning a lot of heads in camp. He's been making some spectacular plays, pretty much destroying everyone he goes against with the exception of Aqib Talib, who he acknowledges he just kind of beats him like he stole something when they go head-to-head right now. But with his athleticism, this is what we're talking about. When you get a steal like that in the 4th round, he had second-round legitimate talent. We got him in the 4th round. If he can keep his nose clean and do the right things, this could turn out to be a pretty good addition to the receiving corps. I mean, to be honest, we couldn't help but get much better at the receiving corps, but I think we've got some really good young talent in there. And Williams, Ben, and Strouder, Maurice Stovall in the red zone, I think could really mess people up. Now, other things with regards to OTA, D. Ward was late. Derek Ward did not show up on time. It was well known why for the coaching staff. No one here thought it was a big deal. But of course the press did. He's going to have to earn some of that money he got as a free agent coming over here last year this season. Fullback will be Ernest Graham full-time this year because of Askew's release. So what we should see is a lot more of either Cadillac or Derek Ward in the backfield with Ernest Graham, which if our offensive line can really shore up and play well and we don't have to keep our fullback in blocking sets, we can run what would be considered a rocket backfield with what are legitimately 2 tailbacks back there, which that gives an offensive coordinator a lot of flexibility to call plays. The other person who's out is Kellen Winslow, who had his 5th knee surgery in 6 years, as I understand it. I didn't validate those numbers, so I apologize if they're incorrect. He got his right knee cleaned up a little bit. He's been in touch with the coaching staff. I was fortunate enough to see Kellen last year in training camp and during the games. I was not a big fan of the Kellen Winslow move. I thought that financially it was fine. I didn't have a problem with the contract like a lot of people did. but I didn't like what I saw out of him as a player watching him in Cleveland. But when I watched him in camp, I was amazed by his work ethic, what he did. He was the first guy out, the last guy to leave, and he was that way in game day too. This is a guy who, at his level of competition, is still working on his hand position, catching the ball. He seems to be a student of the game. I am personally not concerned about this, but the proof will be in the pudding. I don't think that anyone's pushing Kellen in the depth chart. I think Jeremy Stevens is a serviceable backup, a similar player, but I don't think anyone thinks that he's Kellen Winslow. And so I think that that's going to be a non-issue once we get into training camp. So thanks for tuning into the channel. Like I said, hopefully I'll get some more updates up here, more recent updates and more regular updates. We appreciate you tuning in. And if you want more information about the Bucs and want to be part of the broadcast, come over to WhatTheBuc.net and tune into the live broadcast over there. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you give me a rating. Let me know if you liked it or if you think I'm an asshole. Appreciate it.